Okay.
Cool. We're now streaming live on YouTube.
Oh yes. And so we haven't actually gone live. It's still setting up. But in the meantime, I'm going to just open Facebook so that I can post this.
Mine says we're live.
Yeah, the meeting is already like set up, but oh no, don't do that to me. We're not on YouTube yet.
Okay.
And let me just.
This is so cool. I was wondering how people were doing this. We're all like learning, figuring this out, teaching each other.
Right? I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so woohoo, here it is.
We're live?
We are. Okay, so here's something interesting. Okay, so 1 second. I'm going to.
You just muted yourself on purpose.
So I did do it on purpose because it's, let's see. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you to do something. Go on to, we are live. And so this will be fun for people to watch afterwards. Like you said, we're all just trying to figure it out. If you go to this link on YouTube, I'm going to put it in our chat here. Okay, I'm gonna, okay. So go on over there and you'll see our chat. It's about on a 2-second delay. So I'm gonna keep talking, okay? And tell me if you hear me. Okay, so you can hear me. Go on over there. Close that down. You'll see our, awesome. Okay, so you can close that down now. So what I found out was, so Facebook and Zoom, their integration is a little bit better than the YouTube and Zoom, because on Facebook, even if I have the Facebook page open, I don't hear my live on Facebook, but on YouTube, or I mean, I guess I don't know. Anyway, whatever it is, I have YouTube. I had to mute it so that I wasn't hearing myself twice.
Right, of course.
So there you go. Okay, let me let's share this link on Facebook. Okay, join us on YouTube. And I will
maybe say like the Facebook live stream is down.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to edit the post and say that. Facebook live stream with Zoom is down. Join us on YouTube instead. Control V. Okay. And I will share this to our group. And I will share it to my page, and then you can do that too if you want. So we're just chatting here.
Well, that's a good idea. I can share that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's jump in, shall we?
Yeah, I'm just putting this up.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the oh, are you using the link that I sent you?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a better link, I think.
Oh, really?
I don't know. It's probably the same link. Yeah, it's just it's like a short link for sharing. So,
oh.
I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Cool. Okay. So. So Yiska, hi.
Hi.
I'm so excited that we're doing this. I really think that we were just talking about how important it is that that we that we support each other and that we kind of make this shift together to this new reality. And even though in some places doulas are still being considered essential workers and we are still getting to visit with our clients and go with them to births for various different reasons, some doulas are not comfortable with that or are in quarantine themselves, or some moms are not, and birthing people are not comfortable with having their doulas. And so minimizing contact and not being able to really be there for our clients in the way that we usually are. And what's awesome, what we were saying, like, it's so great to see how we're still doing our work. Like, so many doulas, you guys are amazing people. You are, just showing up. You're doing everything that you can to help your clients, even when when everything is shifting and everything is up in the air. We are so essential. Even if we're not considered essential, we are so essential for helping our clients have these positive experiences no matter what's going on. And that's why I'm doing these talks. And I'm so excited to have Yiska here. So Yiska, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So happy to be here. So I've been a doula for 20 some odd years, a massage therapist, an acupuncturist. And a few years ago, I started teaching comforting touch for doulas, realizing that from my body work experience and acupuncture experience, I was bringing things to birth work that maybe other people didn't know or didn't have, and I could help them have more confidence in touching their clients. Interestingly, obviously, right now our touch is happening in a different way, but a couple of years ago, maybe like a year and a half into teaching, I wanted to have a digital format for my classes. So I took my curriculum and created a digital guidebook so that doulas could learn from home if I wasn't in the city or place that they were learning, or couples wanted to learn the information and practice the things on their own, that they could do that. Cool. So it's
innovator.
Yeah. It's just really fortuitous. And it's funny because I was talking with someone at the time. I was going to write something, and she was like, well, maybe find out if people want written, or maybe, now a lot of people do videos, maybe people want videos. And I went way out of my comfort zone and created videos. So the guidebook is really integrated in terms of having both written content, but also these demonstration videos that I'm excited to share with people, that they can learn for themselves, when the time comes, or if the time is even present now, that they're going to be hands-on with their clients. But even more relevantly in most situations, to be able to teach the partners how to feel confident, to know what to do, to have videos to show them, to have techniques and things that they can go over, in prenatal visits, so that they are helping them feel like more fully prepared, more fully equipped to be physically on their own. Of course, emotionally, virtually, no matter what the situation, we can be present for them. But because touch is such a strong comfort measure, we want, the partners to feel like they have the tools that we ordinarily would be doing to support them.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Oh my gosh, it's so great. And there are so many resources out there. And so I love that we're adding this to the toolbox. And we've recently met. You and I met virtually. But I love your vibe, and I think that like what you're bringing to this field and to this arena is just so unique and important, and I'm so excited to share it. So let's jump in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you want me to just dive in? We talked in advance about like me thinking about what were the things that I wanted to share with you guys. Kind of key things that I think are most important to share with your clients, and to prepare yourselves in being in prenatal visits with them or being in labor with them virtually. I'm actually teaching a class on this on Thursday, April 2nd. It's all online. It's a 4-hour class. And it's also going to cover some of like the postpartum stuff. So I'm going to be teaching baby massage techniques and some postpartum stretches that people can give to their clients, because ordinarily they would be, if someone was feeling physically uncomfortable postpartum, they would be sending them to me for like a massage or to someone else for body work. And they can't do that, so giving people also tools for helping them postpartum when it comes to like comfort.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can you send me the link to that, and we'll put it up on the in the comments for the video?
I will. Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. So, some of the things that I'm going to mention today are things that we'll cover a bit more in depth in the, the fuller kind of crash course. But I think at the top of the list, whenever I talk with people about one of the most important things for partners to know, and for doulas to know, but most importantly for the partners, because they don't understand yet firsthand the flow of labor, that there's a big difference between the kind of touch that people want during their contractions versus in between their contractions. And the number one place that I see a partner being sort of dismissed or asked to stop doing something is when they're trying to be like massagey, comforty, like rubby in the middle of a contraction.
Right.
And what people tend to want in a contraction is either, if they want touch, they want that touch to be firm and grounding and steady. And so I really like partners to sort of be aware of that. And then we as doulas can show them particular counter pressure techniques or ways of holding their partner that that can help them feel that groundedness and help them feel held and feel that kind of counter pressure. I talk about in the guidebook, and I'll be talking about in the class about, why counter pressure works, because it has this power to kind of dilute how intense the contractions are. I won't get to that here now, but suffice to say, I think that that's one of the key, like, broad strokes that you can sort of warn partners about, that, and show them the counter pressure techniques, whether it's, I have a bunch of free videos up also, but, awesome. Or whatever your resources are, or if you want to make your own videos, like that you can show them, or record your prenatal visit that you have with them where you show them and you guys practice whatever techniques so that they have it handy or can practice on their own after you meet with them, however you do it. But the idea being that they turn to those kinds of counter pressure type techniques and firm, steady grounding, holding during contractions. And then if they want to be more soothing, rubbing, more massagey, that's something better for like relaxation in between contractions, or when there's more space in between contractions, so that they're not bumping up against too many moments where their partner's being like, no, don't do that, or that's not right. I feel like what's happening now is like, we've always been, as a doula, we're also the doula for the partner.
Totally.
But like now, the partners need us just as much as the laboring people because, they need the same encouragement. They need the same guidance. They need to show them how to change positions or what they're doing, give them ideas for what to do differently, so I feel like we're doing, like so many doulas are like lowering their prices and things like that. But like we're doing double duty.
We're doing double. We're doing double, 100%.
Fine. Everyone's doing double duty. It's not like, everyone's doing, and the birthing people, their families, they're doing they're doing triple duty because they're also handling the baby,
Yeah.
So
oh, totally. And I always say, like, just on that, because I'll just, reiterate and say again the things that I always say, which are, as far as value and what to charge, and, just because it came up. And I think that we all, it's very personal, and I'm not one of those doula business people who says like, oh, if you don't charge enough, you're devaluing the profession and stuff. I don't believe that. I believe that it devalues you if that's the place where you're coming from for not charging or undercharging. If you're coming from a place of, I don't believe people will pay me, or I don't believe that I can earn this much from the work that I'm doing for whatever reason, right? Because we shouldn't be charging money for this kind of work, because I've never earned that much, because all those different reasons, whatever those are, I don't have enough experience, then I say, come, let's do a money mindset, session, and let's get you charging, a valuable price for your work. But if you're looking at this situation and you're saying, I want to give to my community right now, and that because of that, I would like to lower my fees, this is my give back. I would like to lower my fees. It feels right to me, to give that to my people, and go ahead and lower your prices. Like, go ahead and do it. Serve. So, and on that, right. And on the flip side of that coin, if you're taking your full fee because we are essential and because you deserve to be paid, and like, for the work that you're doing, that's also right. So whatever you're doing, as long as it's coming from a place of like, solidity and a place of service, you're doing the right thing. So I just had to put that in there.
You found the words, everything you said, I completely agree with. Yeah, that's great.
Totally. So let's go back on track to really supporting our people and giving them the tools, and now more than ever. And also, because of all this stress, I feel like touch is so much more important. First of all, if you've got a bunch of kids at home, you might be touched out. But if you don't, you might be like, don't touch me, right? Did you see the meme, the one that was saying that if there's a baby boom, it's going to be entirely first children?
Yeah.
Totally. I feel that. But those of us but this is, as you said, this is a different kind of touch. You said like, and at different times, you're going to need different kinds of touch. And I think the idea of raising oxytocin levels through touch, through loving touch and comforting touch, is so essential. Like, whether you're talking about in labor, whether you're talking about pre-labor, postpartum, but even in this prenatal time for our clients who are just pregnant, we're needing that comforting touch. And if we can't be there to do that, then giving tools to our partners to be able to give that is so essential.
Absolutely. And I mean, I do, on my videos page, these are all free. The guidebook is for a fee, but in the free videos, I have like a foot massage sequence that
nice.
Partners can like do for each other. It'd be amazing to do prenatally or postpartum. I've even had people reach out to me for like private classes to like teach them. They teach the partner how to do like massage for their like partner. They just had a baby and they totally would have just gotten them a massage. Or, I mean, this happened to be for a postpartum call. I could probably do the same thing for people prenatally, but it's interesting because I was reading as I was like fleshing out the curriculum for Thursday's class. I stumbled upon an article about a study done that talks about how like loving touch, in particular from your like romantic partner, actually, I mean, not only they weren't registering oxytocin levels, but they were rating subjective experience of pain.
Oh,
And they
wow.
found that loving touch, like someone, you know, like your romantic partner being there with you in any kind of hands-on way with like a loving, empathic presence, actually people experience less pain. When they were exposed to the painful stimulus, they experienced less pain.
Amazing. And
Yeah,
we know, right, because
yeah,
we're in this and we're like the hormone experts, not well, but these hormones, we know that that's oxytocin and endorphins. Like
right,
that's
right,
what it is.
right, 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 right,
So
right.
that's awesome. That's
Right.
incredible. Incredible. Wow. What an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
article.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it is amazing and great that we can offer people these other, you know, find their way. And also I think, you know, not to overwhelm them, to simplify the things that they can do so that they don't feel like all of a sudden they now need to not only be the partner and like the also becoming a parent person, right? Or the also having another child person, whatever that, you know, but that they also now have to be a doula,
Yeah.
right? And to take some of that pressure off of them and remind them that like this most simple holding of a hand, you know, hand on a shoulder,
Right.
hugging, holding, any kind of touch is going to function as an analgesic, you know, like
Amazing.
it will help in measurable ways. And then also like there's some other thing, you know, I mean, I'm thinking about, I'm referring to some of the notes that I wrote before about making sure that I, you know, cover all the things that I wanted to share. Was that partners, you know, I think in a lot of ways, you know, if we can convey how much they can trust themselves, if we give them a little bit of guidance, like, you know, how to touch during a contraction versus in between, like simple things like that. And then say, then just go love your person,
Right.
right? That you can trust yourself, and that, you know, your partner will tell you if they need something different, and you're going to try to like follow their lead. But like if you're doing whatever you're doing and you're not being pushed away or asked to stop, right, or told to do it differently, what you're doing is golden.
Yeah.
You know, and that you can trust that. And I always in my classes, I refer to this video that I love of a partner doing this counter pressure technique to their partner. The contraction ends, they go away for a minute to like get something to drink or change the music or whatever, and then the next contraction comes before he's able to get back into like the proper position, and he ends up just kind of like hugging her hips in a totally like impromptu, spontaneous, like hugging of hips, no proper form, no like good technique, just like hugging her hips. And it totally worked, right? It worked just as well as what he had done before. And I just felt like that was so telling. And we need to like, you know, encourage I think partners in that way,
Yeah.
of, you know, to give them some guidelines and then encourage them to simply like trust their intuition, trust their love, you know, and just, you know, follow the lead of the partner if they need something different, you know, and then we'll also be there. We'll be there virtually
Yes.
to support them. But, you know, but that they already have. And I feel like doulas need this message. I think we all humans need this message that we like already have within us what we need. And so can we refine it or tweak it or channel it with certain awarenesses or tools? Yes.
Yeah.
But like the essence of it is coming from something that's like already inside of us.
100%.
So yeah.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Awesome. Such good stuff. So that's cool. So let's go into like stuff now. Let's talk
Yeah.
about actual techniques and actual things. I'll say one more thing. You said about the giving the partners that information about the difference between what is generally need, what most birthing people need in the contraction versus between contractions, and talking about that difference, and that just that knowledge can be a huge switch. Another thing that that I'll give here, I'll add in terms of, hey partner, here's a little insider info for you that's going to help you. What the birthing people are doing in labor land is very internal and very feeling based. It's very emotional. And so what we want to do as much as possible is keep her in that emotional space and not switch out to a more cerebral place. And so one thing that we all tend to do in normal life is to say, do you want this? Can I get you that? And sort of offering. And when you offer something to somebody, they have to think about whether or not they want it. They have to think. And we don't realize that we're thinking when we say yes or no to a glass of water on a normal basis. But when you have a birthing person in front of you and that person is like in their labor groove and you say, do you want a drink of water, honey? She's got to think. And that takes them out of there. And so the easier thing to say is no. And so big tip is, if you think your partner might, your birthing partner might need a drink of water, go ahead and get the drink of water and bring it over and say, here's some water, and let the birther take it or push it away. That they can do, right? But thinking about, do I want it? Do I want it now? Do I want it later? That takes them out of their groove. So tip number one, pressure versus massage in contraction versus, in between contractions. And tip number two is offer the thing that you think might bring comfort and let the birthing person refuse it or take it rather than asking them if they want it. So that's tip number two.
I love how you just explained that. And, a little bit more directed specifically to touch. The way that I usually teach doulas is that instead of asking if what we're doing is okay or not, right? Just tell them to let me know if something's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, let me know if this isn't working. So they, that like, they know that they can, just in that sort of consent conversation, right? That they know that they can absolutely refuse what you're offering, but they don't have to come out of that deep internal place in order to take care of your ego to let you know if what you're doing is okay or not.
Right.
Because ultimately that question ends up being about us more than them in that particular moment, even though we're always meaning well. To ask a question in that moment is more self-serving than to just, preface how we're offering the touch as, just you're going to tell me if anything
is not
right.
Yeah. That fantastic.
Like that. Yeah.
So good. So good. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Techniques. Yalla.
Okay. Well, the funny thing about this format, is that it's really too hard to actually show the technique when you're just having a conversation. That's why I really like the use of videos.
Yeah. And
I have like the Doula 101 counter pressure technique is the hip squeeze, right? And it's in my guidebook, but I actually pulled it out of my guidebook to put it on my free videos page because I wanted everyone to have access to this particular move. Yes. The way I teach it, I really like to encourage people to not effort as hard as like we typically effort when doing it. So a lot of it is body positioning. And I like to teach people that because if you're doing it for a long time. So yes, the format, like you have the hips in your hands and you lean in and you press on the hips like that. What that does is, well, I guess I can talk about the gate control theory of pain a little bit, which is to say that essentially we have a certain number of nervous system receptors in our body to register sensation of any kind, painful, not painful, any sensory input. And if we dilute and we fill some of those receptors with not painful input, like pressing directly on your back, or putting the fingers wherever you tell me you want the fingers, putting the hand wherever you tell me you want the hands, right? Like, people in labor know where they want you to touch them. Sometimes they don't know all the possible versions of ways that you could touch them that would feel good. But there's certainly, you know, like, there's not going to be a person, you know, who isn't, you know, is feeling like pressure in their back that isn't going to be like, oh, press on my back, or going to be pressing on their own back, pointing exactly to where they want you to go to relieve what's going on for them. You know, and virtually we're able to have access, if we're in the room, to being able to see where you're at and seeing if the laboring person is putting pressure on their back. Be like, okay, partner, go around and press on the sacrum the way that we showed you in the video prenatally, right? So like, this is how I see it all kind of weaving together.
Awesome.
And then also the hip squeeze is really cool, because what it does is where you're pressing on the hips also kind of functions like a clothespin, where then when you press on this part, the other part opens. So it kind of allows for a little bit more opening in the pelvic inlet, right? So that there's more room for the baby to descend, to engage in the pelvic inlet by doing that hip squeeze. So it has a functional benefit. It has a, you know, pain management, you know, benefit, lots of benefits to that. But I'd say, you know, the hip squeeze would be, and I'd say also then, you know, low back pressure would be the two number one things to offer, to teach your clients prenatally, so that they're armed with, like, in a typical prenatal, when I do the comfort measures and comforting touch part, those are the two counter pressures that I go over. So as long as you're still doing that also, and then arming them, you know, having the videos ready for them if they need it in labor for review or refresher, arming them with whatever reminder cheat sheets that you might come up with, you know. So there are lots of ways to make sure that they have that information. But, you know, those are the two main counter pressures that I will rely on. And, you know, one of the other things that I think when it comes to offering counter pressure that sometimes surprises partners is how much pressure someone in labor might want, you know, especially if, like, you're a bigger partner with a more petite partner, you know, like, you might be surprised, like, how much pressure you can actually put. And because of that, it could be really tempting to try to muscle your way through. But I really encourage people, this is sort of like a massage 101 tactic, which is to, like, lean in and use your body weight. And, you know, if your partner's asking for more pressure, to try to find it by, like, leveraging your body weight, leaning in, pressing harder, not with your muscles, but pressing harder with, like, your weight leaning into them. Even like that guy I was talking about before, who just kind of, like, wrapped his arms around his partner's, you know, hips and hugged her and just, like, leaned his body weight onto her hips, you know, and it worked just great. So yeah, I think that that's also something to be aware that partners might need to, it's worth maybe mentioning beforehand, and then reminding them, if you hear the person in labor asking for more pressure, like, reminding them it's okay. Remember, we talked about this, like, just get all your body weight in there, get all your body weight on top of her, you know, sacrum, her low back, and lean in. I think these things will help people win.
I'll just give another tip for that. You know that I think we talked about this, that I'm also came from massage therapy into doula work. And just a few years behind you. I'm 15 years in the field. But so now, you know, with all my small humans that I am training to give massages. So the way that I explain that to them about using their weight is I tell them, imagine that, you know, put your hands on my back and imagine that you know, that you're not, that nothing else is holding you up. Like my back is holding you up. So how would you push on my back if you would fall if I moved away? And so that's how I got them to, I mean, isn't that great? I mean, they're so tiny, so there's not that much weight.
But you applied for us too. Yes, that's so perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So that, yeah, please do. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how much I learned from my kids.
That's awesome.
I doulaed my son through pulling out a splinter from his foot the other day. I was like, just breathe. It's almost over. You've got this.
Everybody needs a doula at one point or other.
Totally. Yeah. So yeah, so that's just a little bit of a tip about you know, using your weight as opposed to your muscles, and also like you were saying about not putting too much, meaning especially like if there's a big weight difference or size difference between the partner and the birthing person, you might feel nervous about, you know, about putting too much pressure. But if you're using your muscle strength, then you might go a little too hard. But if you're using your weight, you'll feel the feedback much better about whether or not, right?
And it also disperses the weight in a different way when like you're leaning in than when like you're drilling from like a more.
So funny, we just did the exact thing.
It absolutely, I think it feels different. And I lost my train of thought, but something that you were just saying reminded me. Because so another one of the way I structured the guidebook and my classes is that I have like these 13 guiding principles of touch, or 12 or 13, however many there are. And those are broad strokes that can apply beyond any of the specific techniques that I'm teaching. And then there are specific techniques that I teach. But one of the broad strokes is for both, you know, doulas and partners to know. Most people have experiences. If they've had a bad massage, at some point, a bad massage will be bad because they're on your bone.
Yeah.
Right? Like it hurts if you're on the bone directly, especially if you're like doing something with your thumb or your palm or your, you know, and really trying to like massage or press through an area. If you are doing that on the shoulder blade, on the spine, directly into bone, it just hurts. It doesn't feel good. But where it feels great is actually in the seams in between the bones and our muscles, or in between muscle and muscle, where that's where the tension and energy tends to pool. And so by bringing our touch through those pathways and through those areas, we can help disperse some of that tension and bring fresh blood flow into those rivulets, right? But otherwise, so that's also something for people that they could keep in mind, that you don't want to be just pressing on the bone itself. I mean, sacral pressure is a little bit different when you're pressing on the low back. When you're using a broad surface of your palm, right, and you're pressing into the flat bony surface of the sacrum, then that's broad enough, much like the leaning in with your body weight, it's broad enough that you'll feel the feedback and it doesn't bang up against the bone in a painful way. But if you're trying to put that pressure with your thumbs or anything, you're going to want to feel for the grooves that are in the sacral area and not be just on like the center hardest part of the bone.
Yeah,
because most people are going to find that that's going to be a place where, you know, your partner's going to be like, ow, you know, that doesn't feel right or good. So I think that's, you know, I don't want to overwhelm. I want doulas to have these awarenesses, but I also want doulas to be selective in what they share with their clients so that they don't feel overwhelmed. And you can always bring these coaching tidbits into the birth experience virtually if you notice that like something is hurting, you know, where the partner, let's say, is trying to do the back pressure, but it's hurting.
Yeah.
You'd say, okay, well, maybe make sure that you're not pressing on the bone, just for example, like, you know, but you wouldn't necessarily need to give them all of these bits of information. in your prenatal visits. You can
Right.
share with them the guidebook, you can share with them the videos, you can share with them some of the bigger ideas, but I feel like I want to be cautious with not like overwhelming people, so that it feels like, then it becomes like, oh my God, how am I possibly going to like remember all this, or, you know, be successful, right? So
Right.
those are just my thoughts around getting too into the weeds with these things, but it's good for us to know.
Yeah, for sure. We're like, when we have, like you said, when we have the awareness of it, when we have the awareness of it, then we can give over what seems
like needed in the moment.
Exactly, the most appropriate, for sure,
Yeah.
100%. Oh, that's awesome. Can we digress a little bit? Can we talk about pain relieving ideas for some of the common pregnancy complaints? Is that something that like round ligament pain, symphysis pubis, you know, some of the like when you have a kickboxer baby who's driving you absolutely insane, some, you know, sciatica, like some of the things that our clients might be complaining about, you know, that we are not going to be seeing them, so we're not necessarily going to be able to show them. What are some things that we can tell our, you know, give our partners and our women themselves, or birthing people themselves, how to help them relieve some of those things?
So this is a great question. I wasn't prepared for this question, but that's okay. So the first thing that I want to say to that question is I recommend that doulas call on their favorite body work professionals to cover that part. Unless your people are out of work, struggling financially, if they still are, if they have like finances available to them, I would be sending them, I'm not going to say me, I'm going to say we need to be all supporting our local people. So the people who you would be sending that client to for massage or chiropractic help or PT, you still send them to them.
Oh, for sure.
And they will find a way to give them that more in-depth personalized attention virtually. Let them do the tutorials. You know, so what I can say on like standing on one foot, right, would be something along the lines of, I really like rebozo work for the ligament pains, for the creating of space, the relaxing of the abdominal and pelvic ligaments.
Yeah.
And so whatever your resource for that information, I would turn to that. If you are familiar with this, I'll mention you like a simple lifting and gentle sifting of the abdomen, right? With a rebozo, if you don't have a rebozo, with a sheet, with something that can give the abdominal ligaments a break, is going to refresh the blood flow to that area, and it will make it more likely that the muscles and they can relax, they can create more room, and it will feel like a tremendous break for people. The other thing is that typically you can do that kind of a lift from a standing position. That would be like an abdominal lift, which is also lovely. But often that particular lifting of the belly is done with people on their hands and knees. And just being in the hands and knees position is good for balancing the pelvic ligaments, balancing the pelvic floor, helping to even out the sacrum. It's a very simple alignment activity. And so encouraging clients who are having any kind of one-sided pain, one thing that they can do is spend time on hands and knees. And what I even say to people is, it's not so much important the upper body in hands and knees. You want the lower body in the position of hands and knees or tabletop. The arms can be resting on a pillow on the couch or the chair in front of you.
Yeah.
You can have a totally relaxed upper body, but we want that 90-degree angle of the hips over the knees meeting the floor. And this does help the pelvic anatomy balance and settle, and can be it's one of the things that could be beneficial for one-sided imbalances. I mean, all the spinning baby stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you have been, you know, thinking about spinning baby, you know, if you've taken spinning babies and you already know, and you have the resources and you're going to be using that. If you haven't yet, now's the time. Now, when we have time, I mean, whatever. Actually, so many people don't have time because the kids at home, so I don't know what I'm saying, okay? Ignore me. But, you know, when you're up all night, instead of worrying, you can be doing some spinning babies, self-educating yourself around pelvic balancing and the different stretches and exercises that you can do. But, you know, your prenatal massage therapist or chiropractor or PT person or spinning baby specialist or whatever is going to already know these things, and you can send your people to them. You don't have to be everything. That's the thing also. We've always known this, right? Like, that's why our networks are so strong, right? Because we don't have to be everything. You know, like, I don't have to, you know, be also a birth doula and a certified lactation counselor and you know, childbirth educator and a massage therapist and a chiropractor, right? Like, I could just be a birth doula or just be a postpartum doula and refer people.
Yeah.
The more complex cases, the things that are beyond me, I don't have to take that on myself to like know all that information. So I do have some of the spinning babies and rebozo exercises again on my free videos page.
Great.
So I really encourage people to go there, use it as a resource, share it with your people. It's great because it doesn't cost anything. And then if you feel like you want more, there's the guidebook. If you feel like you want more, the guidebook's included in the class I'm teaching on Thursday.
Cool.
We're going to be covering baby massage techniques.
Oh, cool.
We're doing like I added on a whole other hour for postpartum, like baby massage techniques and like postpartum stretches, because people want it and need it. And you know what? Like, what else do I have to do right now?
Oh man.
I mean, I don't have kids at home, so I can say that.
No, I'll just say though, I will speak to that, because I think that even those of us who, I mean, I'll really just speak for myself, but even those of us who have our kids at home and that's taking up time that we didn't, you know, bargain for, let's say. Personally, I'm actually enjoying it. I mean, it's a lot, but I'm enjoying it. But you might not be enjoying it, and that's okay too. But I think either way, we are still looking for ways to continue our own, like, you know, independent humanity. You know, so if that's like doula work, or if it's, you know, whatever that is, we can't work the way that we usually work. We might not be getting new clients now. You know, some of us are and some of us aren't during this time. People maybe are playing things a little bit closer to the vest, or they're focused on other things and not, you know, for preparing for their upcoming birth, like all kinds of reasons. So we're busy with children, and yes, we're busy with household stuff that maybe we would have a cleaner come do that we're not necessarily doing now, or all that kind of stuff. But I think that we are still looking for, or if you're asking yourself, what is that thing that I'm looking for that I'm not finding an outlet for? Self-study is a great place to go for that now. You know, and it's low pressure because it's like a digital course, or you don't have to go anywhere to get there, even if it's live. You know, but it's a way
you can
for us
catch
to
the recording
being,
sometimes for all these things too.
Also, exactly, and it's a way for us to continue being who we are. You know, I'll draw a parallel to like what I tell my clients who need to be on bed rest. I have, if I have a client on bed rest, or a client who even more so like needs to be in the hospital on hospital bed rest for whatever reason for weeks and weeks and weeks. So, I'm constantly reminding them, remember who you are. You are not just a patient in the hospital. You are not just the incubator of these, of this baby that's, in whatever kind of complicated situation. You are also you. I had a woman who was a lecturer in a university, and she did her lecture through, from her hospital bed, and so like, remember who you are, that you are a person. And so I'm telling us now, we're in a completely different status quo of what or non-quo of what we thought we were going to be, and what this time would look like for whatever, in whatever way. But remember who you are. And if who you are is a doula, you will still be a doula when the next shift comes. I don't like to say when we go back to normal, because I don't think I don't think we're going back to anything. That's my philosophy. I think that something new is going to happen, and hopefully it'll be more similar to what we were used to before, like the ability to go out and see people. But I don't think it's going to be back to what we were before. Not at this point. I don't know. That's just me. But whatever that next shift is, you will still be right? You will still be a doula, and our work will still be necessary as far as we can tell. There will still be people having babies, and they will still need us. And, and so, yeah, so, express your self-identity as a doula, as a professional in this area by taking self-study courses, by, working on whatever that kink was that was already happening in your business, whether it's business, right? Whether it's new techniques like comforting touch, or spinning babies, or any of the stuff that's out there. So yes, now is the time. I think so. Even if we feel like we don't have time, that's something to make time for.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. So you are going to send me all of these links.
Yes.
And to the guidebook, to register for your course on Thursday.
And people should know, if you want the guidebook, you can just get the guidebook. I'll send you a link to the free videos if you're not able to pay for anything. And then I will also send you the link to the class, which it includes the guidebook. Awesome. And just a little bit more, but still at a pretty low price point to make it accessible. So
awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much, Yiska. Anything else you want to share with us? You want to leave us with any words of wisdom?
or not all the words of wisdom, or come for the rest of them on Thursday.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know what else to say.
Awesome.
But this was great. This felt like a great conversation. I hope you guys out there enjoyed it, who were listening. And
yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope that, everyone watching has appreciated it. And this is going to be, just this time is going to be great. Like, all the giving that's happening, like we were talking about before, it's just amazing. So we're here for you. I'm here for you. Yiska's here for you. And let us know how we can support you.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. Thank you, Yiska. Bye.